Hey everybody, this is Jace bringing you another Ever Crisis video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys my run of the Lapina Coast dungeon event on Very Hard. I'm going to have more information about this in the description, but I've put $3 into this account, none of which is helping me on this run. Those $3 went to a 5-star gacha ticket that got me Cloud's Enhanced Sword. I don't use Cloud. And it went to, I got one of the 20 Sephiroth Memories deal that, you know, pops up as you're going through a character's stream. And I have like 55 memories available for Sephiroth right now. So basically, this is a very, very free-to-play friendly run. Here, before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and show you the stats and weapons I'm using for my characters. So for Aerith, I'm using the Halloween event weapon as my main weapon and Fairy Tale as my secondary weapon. I've already shown you her stats and everything. Here on Matt, I'm running him as a physical DPS. So I have Killer Hornet in the main slot, and then the slot that I have, or weapon that I have in the second slot, is one that debuffs magic defense. And that's going to be really key for supporting Aerith and Sephiroth as they deal some damage. You might have seen it, but for Aerith, I'm not using the costume from the Matt and Aerith banner. I have it, but I decided to go with more survivability, so I'm using the Halloween event costume. And then for Sephiroth here, I didn't pull on the most recent Sephiroth and Cloud banner, so I'm not using any wind weapons, I'm not using any thunder weapons. I'm just running him as he was given to us after his first banner, so optimizing him for magic attack. You can see that across all my characters, most of the secondary, or sub-weapons rather, that I'm using are free event weapons, whether they're from, you know, limited time events or from summons. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the run. Now, before we get too far into it, I just wanted to talk about the materia that I have, because you might have noticed I have some pretty strong materia. There's a content creator named Smelly Octopus. He makes fantastic Ever Crisis content for free-to-play players. He has an advanced materia building guide. I followed his guide, got very strong materia. He basically shows you how to get 3-star materia and higher using the items that are given to you in the game. So there is always going to be an element of luck to what materia you're getting, but basically what I have is, I have it because I followed his guide, so be sure to check him out. And actually, before I forget, the run that I'm showing you here today is going to be kind of like a combination of information that I got from another Smelly Octopus video, because he made a free-to-play like run-through video of this event, but Painblade, he's another great Ever Crisis content creator. I basically watched both their runs and just kind of played around with my own roster to see what I could make work, and what I'm showing you here is what I made work. As for what I'm doing right here, it probably looks a little bit weird. So basically I'm using this this encounter to build up my summon gauges. So you can see that I play in manual mode for harder content. You can see that I immediately switched to defensive mode, and I've been jumping from character to character, spamming weak abilities, and that's just to charge the summon gauges. So you can see that they're about 50% charged. These like random enemies, they really don't do much, so you're pretty safe to go ahead and charge the gauge that way. As we make our way to the first boss that we're going to be fighting, we're going to be fighting the mole crawler, the thing from I think it's the first soldier chapter where young Sephiroth was introduced. We're fighting that thing first, and we want to fight that first because it's very tanky, and so we want to take it out while it still has some pretty low HP, so that we can kill it fast enough to get a really good score. So we're going to start off by taking care of the ads. We're going to use our thunder materia here. So I have physical materia on Matt because he's our physical DPS, and then magic materia on Sephiroth and Aerith. What you're going to notice is that the summons, or limit break gauges, whatever you want to call them at this particular moment, they're going to fill just when we need them. With Matt, we're going to be debuffing magic defense, which for some reason this boss can be, like, his magic defense can be debuffed, even though the description says that it can't. I don't know, man. But as you can see, our summons are all ready to go. We're going to hold them because this boss has a period where I think it's called cooldown or something like that, where it lowers its defense, and that is a really good time to use limit breaks, just pop all your damage. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be waiting for that to happen. In the meantime, you can see that I like to kind of jump around and manually select my character's abilities, because sometimes the AI will just do really, really dumb things, like obnoxiously dumb. Like a boss will be at like 1%, and your party will be like, yeah, let's just go into defense and let's get ready for this hit that's coming. It's like, no, kill it. What do you mean? But anyway, manual play is going to allow you to get a lot farther than if you just try to run everything on auto. So those summons did a lot of damage. You might have seen, I didn't cover it as I was going over character equipment, but I have Hellfire, Diamond Dust, and Judgment Bolt all at level 5. Only Diamond Dust is fully maxed out though, so Hellfire and Judgment Bolt for Ifrit and Ramuh respectively, I don't actually have their streams completed. I just have the level 5 of their best summon abilities unlocked. Alright, so that's that fight. As you can see, like, not much to it. We just used our summons when its defense was down, and then I just used abilities until it was dead. Alright, so here, this took a little bit of trial and error for me. Here I decided to take the score boost. During this run, I'm going to be making use of items. So I'm going to use as few items as I can, but I am going to be using a decent amount. And I think that's actually going to be better for me specifically, because it'll allow me to take more score boosts and while still dealing enough damage to get good score, so that the score boost actually has good score to multiply, or to boost rather. So before the next boss we're going to fight is the Scorpion. Before we go over there though, I decide to fight fight this encounter again, so I can charge up the my character's limit breaks or summon gauges, whatever you want to call them. So once again, we're back fully in defensive stance, and we're just spamming our weakest abilities to slowly chip away at these. For this encounter, you have to be a little bit careful, because these guys can do some sneaky damage. There were a few attempts where, before I knew it, I had a character that was almost dead, and I had to kind of scramble to get their health back up. So just keep an eye on it if you decide to do this the way that I did it here. But that's it. That's why we've come up here to do this encounter. This encounter also drops a Mega Elixir, which we are going to be using during this run, but we're not going to use that until the end. All right, here we are. We're coming up to the Scorpion. This is the Scorpion that's weak to ice. And so the plan here is I have Sheba equipped on Sephiroth. He's going to delete this boss. I don't have wind or thunder weapons, but I do have Sephiroth's ice weapon. And so as you can see, he's going to be using that attack a decent amount. Here's also where Aerith's Halloween event weapon is going to come into play. Now, normally I have guard stick equipped on Aerith as her main weapon, because it has just crazy healing stats. But Aerith's Halloween event weapon has the same command ability, and you just want to use that on the person who's being targeted by the laser here to boost their magic defense. That's how much damage Diamond Dust deals when it's maxed out on Sephiroth in this fight. The boss is already more than half dead and hasn't even gotten his tail laser off yet. Our Matt's going to be nice and safe with a high level of magic defense buff. So he's still going to take a decent amount of damage, but not anything too terrible that we can't heal up. And from here, we're just going to kill it. That's it. You might notice that I haven't used Aerith's summon. It might not even be up yet. I can't see through my interface. No, it's not even up yet. We're not going to use it during this boss. I'm going to save it for later. Now, as to be expected for the first two bosses, we're getting some pretty good scores, hovering around 60k, maybe a little bit higher, and that's a good score to shoot for. After this boss, there's an opportunity to take a score boost. Again, through trial and error, I figured out which score boost I want to take and which ones I don't want to take. If I take this one, I will hit like a wet noodle. So instead, I decided to take the wind potency and the lightning potency. That's going to serve me well for the rest of the run. We're coming up here on the Airbuster, and we are going to use a tent. Because it's possible for me to do this boss without the tent, but then I end up having to do it for the next one anyway, so I figure may as well get it out of the way. I also had a couple of attempts that were a little bit sus, little close call in terms of somebody being killed in case Tank Buster gets off. So better to just go ahead to use the tent. As you can see, we are completely ignoring the ads and focusing entirely on the boss. Surprise, surprise, we're going to use summons. So when Matt's and Sephiroth's summons are back, we're going to use all three, and that's going to absolutely obliterate the ads. And if we're going to do that, we may as well just focus all of our damage on the boss. Matt's Killer Hornet does come in handy here because he knocks out all the diamond sigils all at once, so characters are able to focus on other things and get that stream phase over with pretty quickly. And now that our summons are up, we're going to go ahead and use all three. And after that, we're just going to focus on, well, killing the boss. Now, since we were able to deal with the stream phase so quickly, Tank Buster is only going to appear at 30%. Just to be safe, we're still going to use Aerith's weapon to boost Matt's magic defense before he takes the hit. But you'll see it doesn't end up doing a whole lot of damage. It's possible that I didn't even need to use that buff, and I could have used that ATB for more damage from Aerith, but whatever. And here, we've done enough damage to the boss already that we don't need to worry about this stream phase at all. So you're going to see me jumping from character to character to try and force them to not use sigil breaks and just kill the boss. And that works out just fine. Alright, so once again, we're getting a score around 60,000, which is great. We're going to take the score boost for this one. The downside for the score boost is magic defense down, which we can make up through items. I was doing this just before reset, and this pop-up that's coming in just a couple seconds terrified me. I was like, crap, do I have to start over? But thankfully, you can jump back in the run. So I went ahead and did that. Here's me starting the run back up again. But the only two bosses that are left, well, technically there are three left. There are the two pumpkins and the zoo. We're gonna go kill the zoo. For a while, I was actually using the wind potency boost items before this fight. I actually forgot to use them before this fight during this run, and it ended up being okay. So for this fight, in contrast with the other ones that we've done, we're actually going to focus down these enemies because they're just so annoying. They end up doing a sneaky amount of damage to our characters, and there were a couple of times where they got my character so low that I ended up having to sacrifice damage and do more healing than I would have liked. But anyway, here we have a chance to heal up, and we are going to have another chance to heal up right after this great gale goes off. Just a little fun fact for anybody who doesn't know, the AI is terrible, actually, at switching from defensive stance to attack stance. The little bar around the shield or around the sword, when that's full, you deal more damage and you break sigils faster. The AI does not care about that bar. It'll go into defense stance way too early. It'll stay in defense stance way too long, because as you're in defense stance, it'll drain. The AI doesn't care. It's like, did I mitigate the hit? Yes, cool. That's why I'm manually controlling it and waiting as long as possible. Here, what I would have liked to do was to use Sephiroth to just spam wind attacks, because during this part right here, this stream phase, the boss is weak to magical wind attacks. He gets a physical defense up and a wind defense down. But unfortunately, someone's health was getting a little bit low, so I had to jump over to Aerith and do a little bit of healing. It's going to be just fine. And as you can see, we have all 3 summons here. We're going to use them. Theme of the run, for the most part, using our summons all at once. Now, unfortunately, because I had to abandon my planned strategy of just spamming wind attacks with Sephiroth, we basically lost out on a little bit of damage and took too long to kill the boss to go over 60,000. We still got a pretty decent score. It's not the end of the world. Here, we're going to take the final score boost because we're not going to be doing a whole lot of healing on this last fight. This last fight is actually pretty sweaty. I found it kind of difficult. On a previous attempt, I actually died to this last fight at 1%. As you can see, we're going to be doing the harder version. In order to make that happen, we're going to be using some items. A good number of items actually. So we're going to use a Mega Elixir, we're going to use these 3 Wisdom Jellies to buff our magic defense, and then we're going to use 3 Arrow Cocktails so that everybody's dealing as much wind damage as possible. If you aren't aware, the Mega Elixir refills your HP, your max HP, all of your ATB, and all of your limit break / summon gauge, and we're going to be making use of that immediately. Alright, so if you blink here, you're going to miss it. We're going to start off by applying a magic defense down. We're going to jump over to Aerith, use an arrow, jump over to Sephiroth, use an arrow, then we're going to activate all 3 summons. I don't think the arrow from Sephiroth actually got off. Whatever, but the point is we want to get some damage in, we want to lower the boss's defense, and we want to pop all 3 of these summons before the boss puts up his physical and magical defense up. And so that's what we're doing. And then as soon as these summons are done, we need to switch over to the adds immediately and just start murdering them. Make your characters use wind abilities and just attack them. I believe Matt used 1 magic defense down ability there. We're not even going to do that for the second one. We're just spamming wind attacks. If the boss is able to absorb either of these enemies after this ability, he gets way too strong to kill. At least for my party, he just one-shots me. So my main focus here is killing these adds as soon as possible. If you kill the adds, this Glacial Breath is not as strong, and he doesn't give himself a magic attack up buff afterward. If any of the adds are alive afterward, he buffs his magic attack, and you just can't manage it anymore. Here, he's going to refresh his defense buffs, and so I'm just going to go ahead and take those down. You don't want to touch the adds for the rest of the fight. Here, what I'm doing is I'm jumping from teammate to teammate and just making them use wind abilities. Because this stream phase, you don't actually need to use sigils to break this, but while this is running, the boss isn't going to do much of anything. So this is a great opportunity to just do as much damage as possible. So I've used Matt to apply the maximum level of magic defense down, and after that, I'm going to be using wind abilities or wind materia from him. Same with everybody else for the rest of the fight. If you're watching closely, you see that my summons are starting to come back up. We're going to be using those momentarily. And as soon as we're out of the summons, we're just bum rushing the boss. We're jumping from party member to party member, making sure they're using damage dealing abilities. We don't want Aerith to stock up ATB so she can heal or anything like that. We're jumping from character to character, forcing them to use their strongest abilities against the boss, which is just going to be arrow materia, because if Maleficent Surge goes off, we're dead. I cannot survive it. Thankfully, we've pumped enough damage quickly enough that we're able to get the kill here. And that is the end of the dungeon. That's my very hard run. So again, a massive shout out to Smelly Octopus and Painblade. Again, I didn't come up with this route completely on my own by any means. A lot of it was taken from their two videos and just kind of mixing and matching and figuring out what worked for me. But without them, I would not have as good of a run as I have, like not even close. So a massive thank you to both of you. We can see here that we got about 1.4 million. The items helped a lot, and we were able to get the S+. I'm just going to briefly flip through the scores that I got for each boss here. If you're a free-to-play player, do not underestimate how much materia can help you. Materia, understanding fights, using manual mode because the AI is actually really stupid. You can get a lot farther than you think. And here's the final screen here. I actually ended up going back and redoing the normal and hard mode to get the score a little bit higher. I was at rank 71. Afterward, I hit 66. So that's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.